Coming up on today's podcast, a bit of this. Just for the record, there are certain things that I don't involve pies in and will never involve pies in.
What are you talking about?
And this. I could see there've been a lot of injuries caused by bell-bottom flares getting caught and stuff.
There were a lot. They used to call them funk injuries, didn't they?
And a bit of this.
We're talking about art, aren't we?
Flute willies. We're talking about flute willies, let's just be honest here.
Well, it doesn't have to be an actual flute willy. It could be an actual flute.
Hello and welcome to Modern Art is Rubbish. I'm Marcus and Tom. Hello, Tom. Are you there?
Oh, hello, Marcus. Hello, everyone.
All right, how you doing? Tom, listen to this. What's this? Ow, ow, ow. What do you think that was?
Was that you, like, banging something on your desk?
Yeah, well, what I did was I put my hand on the table and put my fingers apart, and I was running a piece of charcoal in between them very quickly, kind of taking a bit of a risk, because today we are going to be doing about dangerous art. We're going to be talking about artists that endanger themselves.
Whoa.
Yeah, so first,
here's a recent art story I came across.
Britney Spears has just sold a painting for $10,000. Now, caveat here, it's for charity. It was sold in Las Vegas. A British bloke called Robin Leach has bought it for $10,000. I mean, what is it? It's a picture of flowers. I mean, it's quite nice, isn't it? I mean, I don't think it's a terrible picture.
Yeah, and I guess it's better than having an autograph.
I suppose as well it's very famous because it's been on her Instagram, so it's been seen by a lot of people. Probably as many people have seen certain paintings. There's probably paintings that sell for millions that have been seen far less than this. So if, you know, this is quite a popular image. It looks like balloon flowers painted, though. I would say it was like a life study of balloon flowers. And I would probably hang it in a downstairs toilet.
Well, that's nice use. I was thinking maybe in a clown's dressing room, but you don't get many of those in an average house.
If you were to have clowns visit your house, where would you have them change?
Downstairs toilet.
Yeah, there you go. So we're both on the same vibe there. Right. Today's topic I'd like to talk about is performance artists, but particularly artists that put themselves in danger.
When you say danger, you mean danger of physical harm?
Yeah, physical harm. I think it's artists that could actually seriously injure themselves through their art. They don't. I think there's a lot of thought that goes behind it, as you will find out. But it seems very dangerous. And in fact, it always is dangerous if you do dangerous things. I got into this because I think I did a piece of dangerous performance art when I was a kid. I enlisted the help of my brother, and we built a den out of bits of corrugated iron and wood and milk crates that we found in our dad's shed. The idea was, though, that I wanted us to build in a security system into the den. So what we did was we got a lawnmower and tied a piece of string to the lawnmower and then attached the other end of the string to the den. And the idea was that I'd sit in the den, and as a security system, if anyone tried to come in the den, they would trip over this piece of string and the whole den would collapse on top of me. I got my brother along and I got him to pretend to be an intruder. He tripped on the piece of string and caused the den to collapse on top of me. I kind of think, looking back, was I trying to make a statement about the false sense of security that we all feel in homes and that we all try and chase his dreams of homes and security, and yet it's not very secure? Or was I just being a child and doing something very odd?
Well, I don't know about odd. You were creating. I guess your imagination was in action. Hence, you describing it now, like looking back on it as art. But I get it's hard to call it art if you didn't set out with the intention of making a statement.
Safe to say, I've never worked in security systems.
Apart from that time.
That's how my mind works. I go from that, thinking about that, to thinking, oh, maybe we can look at artists that put themselves in danger. So that very long story that I've just said is just describing my thought processes of how I arrive at this section on artists. The first one is an American artist called Chris Burden. He died a couple of years ago. He did most of his famous works was in the early 70s. If you go back to the early 70s in America, pretty much the same as it is today, except, of course, you've got the Vietnam War, the first war to be publicised, and probably the last war where journalists were given absolute freedom, so people would probably be tuning in and considering it entertainment, and there would seem to be no editing or as to what the public saw. So people in America were getting pretty desensitised, and the fact that they get shot all the time, well, I'm not saying Americans get shot all the time, but there's a lot of shootings in America even at that time, and there was a lot of gunfights on TV. I mean, even Chris Burden, who was mostly doing like kind of a performance sculpture, looked at this and thought, being shot is as American as apple pie today. You know, he must have thought, what can he do to do art about this and to wake up people from their state of passivity about what's going on. So he thought, I know what I'll do,
but there's
shot.
No apple pie involved in this work. It's just getting shot.
No, there's no. Yeah, he could have got shot with an apple pie. Would that have had the same? No. Yeah, it might have done if he'd made a big machine that shot apple pie. But then you'd probably find that the public would all be stepping up to be shot by apple pie. And then what would happen is that would take away from the focus of him as an artist.
And the danger. You still need the danger aspect.
Yeah,
but it's a shame there was no apple pie involved in some way. Maybe if he'd been shot and he could get somehow his injury to drip blood onto an apple pie as an end point.
Yeah, well, that would be that would work. That would work with the. I always like involving pies in a lot of things. No, just for the record, there are certain things that I don't involve pies in and will never involve pies in. But we'll leave that for the podcast highlights.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Don't try and...
Pies. Yeah, no pies. Yeah. So the Chris Burden, he had a marksman friend, and he asked his marksman friend to shoot him.
What would you do? You know, you've got your friend comes up to you, and you know, as you just said, the marksman friend, and he says, you know, I want you to shoot me for art. What are you gonna? I mean, if I asked you, you know, Tom, can you come and shoot me for art? Not with a pie shooting machine, by the way, with a proper rifle and a .22 caliber bullet. Yeah,
but I'm the sort of person that would be slightly excited by that idea, and I'd say, yeah, well, I don't know, the idea of I like apple pie. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but we'll take the pies out of it. We're talking about real guns now, or real rifles. Well,
why are the pies out of it? Aren't they essential to this art?
Okay, right. If he was to...
We're talking about America, aren't we? Apple pie is America, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. So the thing is we're talking about that establishing that he did actually arrange with his friend, or his going to arrange with his friend to shoot him with a rifle. Now, in this situation, you would shoot him with a rifle as long as apple pie was involved. So, if it was a bullet inside a small apple pie, so you could still potentially injure me.
Well, let's say for our sake, as British men, let's call it apple crumble.
Yeah, apple crumble, but apple crumble that's as hard as steel. So it's steel baked apple crumble. Right, so I come up to you and I say with a gun, I say, look, Tom, will you shoot me? Would you'd be up for doing that? You'd be up for doing that?
Yeah, if I felt that the artwork was representative of apple crumble.
Yeah.
In some way, I'd find it really interesting. I think I would, Marcus. I wouldn't want to do any damage to you, but I'd want to take part in your artwork.
So it actually comes today. He set it up with in a gallery. I don't think it wasn't a public spectacle. It was a sort of closed gallery. A few friends were there, as you do. For a shooting party, you only get your closest art friends around. Friend walks up to the line 15 feet away and points a shotgun loaded with a 22 caliber bullet. His friend did say that he pointed the gun slightly more to the left than he would have normally done if he was really wanting to shoot someone in the arm. In the end, it actually didn't just scratch his arm, it was a flesh wound. Chris Burden went white when it actually hit him. I think it's probably quite a shock. I think you can prepare yourself mentally for being shot. I think when it actually happens, it probably is quite a shock to the system. I've had a dart go in me slightly when it bounced off the dartboard. That's about as close as I've got, which wasn't really that bad. They had to go to hospital and they had to report it to the police. They actually told the police that it was an accident. But the police, of course, didn't believe it. But there's not much the police would bother to do about it.
I guess if there's witnesses, it wasn't in a public place. Was it in the privacy of his studio?
There were witnesses because there's a video called Shoot on the internet. It became very famous, and he also bought TV slots and showed a lot of his artwork. I think he also showed Shoot, so this is the piece that made him quite famous. A lot of people thought it was just a publicity stunt. So he did do other art pieces as well. In 1974 he did one called Kunstkick, which is where... and he was kicked down several flights of stairs. But of course he did do it in a quite a safe way.
So what was this bit of work saying exactly, being kicked downstairs?
I think it was just to go with his violent kind of theme. I think it's just to shock people and to say, look, this is violence, this is what it's like, and to try and resensitise people to what's going on in the world. So I think it just continued from his being shot. He was very influenced by Evel Knievel, the motorcycle stuntman. So I think there was an element of show about it. So whilst the message never changed, he just slightly changed what he did in order to keep it in the media. So it is good art, but he's also played the gimmicky side of it.
Yeah, but it's falling downstairs or being kicked downstairs. It's more kind of, as in terms of an actual incident and an injury, it's more something you associate with your grandma, I suppose, like falling downstairs. It's not like being stabbed or shot or, I don't know, being kidnapped or something. It's not like violence in itself. It's actually falling downstairs is more something that happens in the arena of accidents.
Well, except the fact it's called Kunstkick, which I believe means art kick. He was actually kicked down the stairs. I don't think I made that clear at the start, did I? Which is a bit different, unless grands get kicked down the stairs.
No, I understand that, but still, it's not a common sort of violence that you hear about. You don't hear on the news, a boy was stabbed, or this person was shot, and this person was kicked down the stairs. You just don't get that. You get the stabbings and the shootings. You don't get you don't get the kick down the stairs incidents reported.
I think the being kicked down the stairs, though, again, you do see a lot of that in films where people get pushed down the stairs.
Absolutely.
I still think this work's quite relevant to the time. I don't think it's dated. When you look at it, it still makes the same statement. Although it wouldn't shock people seeing it now, it's still, this is what real things are like. But it's almost like halfway between being real violence and TV violence. So he's kind of like bridged that gap, because he really is falling down the stairs, but it's more like a stunt falling down the stairs. But I think anyway, in the 70s, I think there were more falls down the stairs, because just the size of his bell bottoms. I mean, I'm looking at the picture now, and he's got big bell bottoms as he's falling down the stairs. That's a trip hazard. I could see there'd been a lot of injuries caused by bell bottom flares getting caught and stuff.
There were a lot. They used to call them funk injuries, didn't they?
Funk injuries. Yeah, well, it would have been funk, because it would have been pre-disco. So yeah, certainly that would have been the case. He didn't continue throughout his career to do this kind of stuff. He did more sculptures. He did one quite beautiful one in LA. He took lots of street lamps and then just arranged them all in a big sort of bunch of them, put them all together in an installation, and it's an outdoor one. He constructed also like a giant metropolis with lots of cars going around it, like on the scale electrics. So he's done more sculptural stuff, and he hasn't recreated any of this kind of violence acts that he did in the past. The next artist I want to talk about is Marina Abramović, and she was born in 1946 in Belgrade, which is now Serbia. She predominantly is a performance artist. She's quite famous, and she does quite a lot of different stuff. Earlier on in her career, she started off with a series of performances called Rhythm. They were quite violent. I mean, she started off one originally, the first performance she did was one called Rhythm 10, which is where she put her hands in danger. Rhythm 10, she did a performance with various knives, and she was stabbing in between her fingers. So she put her hand on the desk and stretched her fingers out wide and was stabbing in between with knives. This is actually what the instructions were for her piece, and it was that she turned on a tape recorder and she took a knife and she stabs in between the fingers of the left hand as fast as possible, and every time she cuts herself she changes the knife, and when she's used all of the knives, she rewinds the tape recorder, tries to recreate what she's just done again. It just hurts, really, doesn't it? I assume that she must be right-handed, because I wouldn't do that to my writing hand.
Okay, so what was so why did she do this? Did she have a blurb of meaning to her work?
This one, she was interested in following rules and testing her mental and physical endurance through ritual and sacrifice. So she's testing herself through performance. The other thing is as well is the public saw a lot of these works as just stunts, and they're saying, oh, it's just the artists trying to get famous and trying to... Because of the response she got from other work and because of seeing what happened to other artists, she's decided to do a piece called Rhythm No. 0, which was a final of the rhythm pieces. She decided to make herself a passive part of the piece and get the audience to be the actual people that do the artwork. So she's just a passive participant in the art piece. Now, the way she did this was she set a time in a gallery 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and she set up a long table with a white tablecloth, and she put 72 objects on that. And there's just various objects like representing pleasure and pain. There's things like shoes, a chair, alcohol, Band-Aid, roses, matches, flowers, cotton and spoon. So lots of different things. And she's invited the audience to do anything they wanted to her. So if they wanted to sit her on the chair, they could. If they wanted to give her some grapes, they could. If they wanted to squash grapes on her head, they could. And she even went as far as to say that the audience could do anything. So literally, if the audience member, in theory, wanted to kill her, they could do, because she actually provided them with a gun and a bullet.
Have we got any of the incidents that happened?
The things that people did, going over the list, it started off quite nice. One incident, there was someone who gave her a rose. That's quite a nice thing to do, isn't it? Give her a rose, and someone hugged her, and someone
give her a rose. What, place it in her hand?
Yeah, actually gave her a rose. Yeah.
You don't know how interactive she'd be. Would she take it?
No.
The idea is that
she's almost like a mannequin. So she'd give her the rose, and then you'd close. I'd assume you'd open her hand and close her hand around the rose, and then some people hugged her. Someone gave her a kiss, I believe actually on the cheek. And then you got people slightly, I think, naughty, uncreative people who said, oh no, let's stick her arms in the air. Now actually sticking her arms in the air, if someone didn't put her arms back down, that could actually be quite bad. Because the art piece lasted from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. So if you had your arms in the air for all that time, that could be quite bad.
I mean, that's a funny time to choose for doing this, because you've got to say, like, later at night, people lose their inhibitions a bit more. When it comes to the witching hour around midnight, you know, I imagine that's when all hell broke loose.
Well, yeah, I think that's what's happened. Is
if you were doing it like yourself, and you wanted an easy time of it, you'd start at 8 in the morning, wouldn't you? Or 9 in the morning, and finish at 3 or something. Do you think that was her intent in choosing the hours? Because I imagine they're quite important, like the 24 hours of the day and people's behaviour. They are related, aren't they? Like, people will behave a little bit better, I think, in the daytime or in the morning than they would in the evening, naturally.
Yeah.
Because of the witching hour and the moon or whatever.
It's interesting as well whether it was done on a Tuesday or on a Friday. I was always better behaved, I felt, on a Tuesday, because Tuesdays were quite dull. I don't think I'd be as wacky on a Tuesday as I would be on a Friday, when I know it was the end of the working week.
Oh, right, yeah, I guess so. But I guess, yeah, that's true. End of the working week.
Yeah.
Do you know what day of the week it was?
No, I don't. So I just got the fact that it was in 1974. It is interesting, though, you say about the time, because gradually, towards the end, it did get more wild. Now, I think there is the alcohol. There's probably people coming from the pub and going, oh, let's go to the gallery now. They probably had a few drinks before they came. Later on, you've got someone who tipped some liquid on her head. I don't know what the liquid is. I saw it in a photograph. So I'm assuming it could have been olive oil. Later on, someone else apparently cut her neck and then had a little drink.
Yeah.
That's a bit dark, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like a vampire, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, it got gradually worse. I think they had things like someone tied her in chains, and then later on someone placed her on a table, opened her legs. Now, I have to stress here, when her legs were open, she had her trousers on, but someone stuck a knife between her legs when she was laying on the table, which was very odd. And then someone actually did take a gun, put the pistol in her hand, and pointed it at her neck to see whether she'd pull the trigger. Now, if she's passive, why would she do that?
Yeah, but it says more about the people visiting the gallery, doesn't it? Because they're like expressing themselves through her impassive body. Maybe this person had suicidal thoughts and they should get help immediately.
Yeah, I think the gun incident was probably the worst one of the night. The gallery assistant took the gun away from her. I think they got scared that something might happen. So after the piece had ended, people were surprised to see that Marina was no longer an art object and actually a real person, and they were forced to examine the treatment that they subjected her to on the evening. So,
absolutely, yeah. And did she hand them the rosemary branch of forgiveness?
I don't know, but I think the thing is just the fact that she came round as a person, and it's quite interesting. I wonder as well as if her being any different, if it would have been a bloke. It's interesting whether I would have reacted any differently in that circumstance, and I don't know.
Oh, you absolutely would.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's part of our culture. Women and men both are seen differently.
So, looking at this list and getting into the mindset of a 70s gallery goer, I'm wondering what I would actually do.
Yeah, there is a lot here that you could do. Sugar, honey. Maybe, I don't know. You wouldn't want a perfume on her lips. That would be a bit disgusting.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is with salt is I think it would hurt a little bit, but it wouldn't hurt a lot. So it'd be kind of like a bit naughty to rub. Oh, you naughty boy! You rub salt on the lips. That's a bit bad, isn't it? That's not. She might have dry lips for a couple of days and have to use Vaseline or another petroleum jelly product. Do you know that? I like that. I'm very careful not to product place unless they paid us. I can't imagine Vaseline.
Yeah, there's no toothbrush on the list. Might be nice. There's lipstick. You could. Why don't you, rather than putting salt on, which might be slightly naughty, you could maybe just put a bit of lipstick on.
Lipstick on lips
might be more lipstick on. Exactly.
Not naughty though, is it? It's kind of.
It's the naughtiness that you'd be looking to achieve on your visit to the gallery. We're going to a gallery today. Oh, why? Well, we could get up to some naughtiness.
Well, see, I'm already thinking salt, and you're thinking lipstick. What about Polaroid camera? That's an interesting. Another item here is red paint. What about red paint on the lips? So that's taking it a little bit further. Again, now that she'd probably need some kind of a petroleum jelly product again, and it would be a bit naughty.
You're like that becoming one of the aggravators in the gallery.
Yeah. Why? Would you put yourself on the more defensive side of it then?
Yeah, no, I'd be saying no, only lipstick on the lips, please, sir.
No, you wouldn't. I'm not saying I'd get a gun. I think I might stop if someone put a gun in her hand and tried to make her pull. I think that would be too far, but really step in if I got a little bit of red paint.
Well, start putting it on her lips. Yeah. It could be dangerous putting paint on someone, couldn't it? Because you've seen the film Goldfinger.
Oh yes. Yeah, if you painted her entirely red, then that'd be like a really scary Goldfinger. Would it be red finger? Red finger doesn't sound nice, does it?
Mr. Red Finger.
Mr. Red Finger. That's going to end up in the podcast highlights, isn't it? I know. I keep saying that. That's wrong. I'm not thinking what I'm thinking. That would mean possibly you dipped it in the jam. Is there jam here? Is there a jam? No, there was no.
There's honey.
Honey.
There's honey.
Honey, yeah. Well, possibly.
Yeah, but it depends on the time of year, because if you covered her with honey and then she might attract bees if it's in the summer.
I think there were more bees in the 70s, weren't they? Because bees are running out at the moment. So in the 70s there was a lot of bees. It was maybe 20 less bees in a given area, but no one actually noticed that, and now there's clearly
in a square
population has gone down.
I guess you could leave her your phone number.
Marina,
I guess you could draw her a picture of some bees.
Oh yeah, draw a picture of bees. What you could do is you could draw a really bad picture of bees, and you could hold up the picture, and then she'd have to look at it. And then what you could do is I would lie her on the table right? After I put salt on her lips, this is what I do now. You give me a better idea now. I'd lie her on the table, and then I'd stick a chair above her head so that her head's below the four legs of the chair. So she's lying on the table, and I would with bees, and she'd have to look at it while her lips were dry from the salt.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Now, the picture of bees that's really bad, is it bad intentionally so you distract her? Is it bad, or so you put her through torment rather?
Yeah, torment.
Or is it bad because you're bad at drawing bees? I want to be clear about that.
You want to be?
I'd
clear.
like you to be clear about
right,
that.
I can draw bees, but I would deliberately draw a bad, unpleasant composition of bees. And as an artist, I would feel that she would be comfortable by bad composition.
Yeah, but bees make you uncomfortable anyway, whether they're good or badly drawn.
Bees are quite...
That's my experience of being in wildlife.
Well, no, it depends what kind of bees. If they're killer bees, if there are killer bees, then... But the picture of bees, and because it's a bad composition, it will make her gradually feel uncomfortable. It's kind of like artistic Chinese water torture. Although water torture is incredibly terrible, I have to say this for the record. So I don't wish to trivialise water torture, the drip of effect, but I believe the composition may have a subtle comedy. So she doesn't put herself so much in danger now. She did a piece recently, didn't she, where people could go and sit with her, just be with her. So she's still very popular today, and I'll put some links on the Facebook
and on the website.
So we had Chris Burden, the American artist, who responded to the public's apathy by shooting himself, trying to wake up people to the violence that they see around them. And then Marina Abramovich actively got the audience to participate instead, because she felt that a lot of people thought that performance art was just a stunt. Now we've got Peter Pavlensky, I think as you pronounce it in Russia. You're not Russian.
Peter, isn't it? Peter's P-E-T-R. Peter is P-E-T-R.
No. I've put Peter so I can pronounce it, but it's actually Peter. It's actually P-E-T-R. So it's Petra.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah. You know why I think you know all these names is because you've done a lot of. It's football, isn't it? You get to hear a load of names.
I probably like Alan Green and John Motson have informed my knowledge of foreign names to a greater extent.
Yeah, I noticed that people who are football fans are really good with foreign names. It's quite interesting. So Peter Pavlensky. Now, we talked about Chris Burden. I just talked about Chris Burden and Marina Abramovich. She worked with the audience because at the time people were becoming cynical about performance artists, and they were thinking, well, this is all a bit of a sort of a scam, a bit showy. What this artist does, Peter Pavlensky, I'm saying it a lot to drill it into people's heads. He decided to address the public's apathy to politics. And his theory is that if you sit by and watch the government, in this case the Russian government, do things that are against the people, and you just sit and watch and you're apathetic about it, that is an action. That is a political decision. So what he's decided to do is to do performances that are quite extreme in nature, but he's making the state, so the police, the ambulance services, all the machinery of the state, the participant. Like Marina Abramovich, she used the public in that piece. He's using the actual state. Now, how he did this, he did a piece called Fixation. So the day is, it's November the 10th in 2013, and that's specifically been chosen by this artist because it's National Police Day. So lunchtime, I assume he's got some kind of robe on. He walks to Red Square in Moscow, which is outside the Kremlin, a very significant place, big place for tourists, and disrobes and then nails his man parts, the lower part of his man parts, to Red Square. Now, just for the record here, if you can do this, which I don't recommend anyone does, he did make sure that he knew where to nail it so it didn't cause him any major injuries. Now, of course, eventually a policeman sees a naked man nailed to the floor of Red Square and thinks, what can I do? So instantly the policeman has become part of the artwork, because all Petter's doing is he's just sitting there. He's doing nothing more. All his planning's done. Now the art is being created by the state. It's exposing how the state operates, the machinery of the state. So a policeman comes up and, I mean, I don't know what you do if you're a policeman. You can't, you see that, you think, yeah, exactly. I watched the video and it seemed clear that the policeman didn't know what the hell to do. So you do what you would do in any case in this situation.
I was going to say, it's not drawing a picture of bees.
No, it's not drawing a picture of bees. It's called another policeman, but maybe they have some bees. Look, God, that would hurt, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be instant suspense punishment.
They'd be called the Buzz rather than the Fuzz.
Oh, the Buzz one. They'll turn up, and then the policeman. I've watched the video, and then you see another policeman arrive, and he's kind of confused as to what to do. So they think, I know what we'll do. We'll call an ambulance. But of course, there is another thing they do. They close off the whole of Red Square to tourists because they think, let's control the situation, because he's making a big statement. Now, in Russia, if you just stand there with a placard, you probably just get arrested, and no one says anything. As one single person, you have to be quite extreme to highlight how the state operates. That's probably why I did it. So you've got the ambulanceman. Don't ask me how they removed the nail. I assume you can't just get a normal claw hammer to do it.
Yeah, there's no specialist claw hammers for removing nails from testicles, as far as I know.
No. There absolutely isn't.
As a rule, most ambulance services don't carry them if they do exist.
Yeah, it would be some kind of hydraulic tripod device that would pick up the nail without causing injury. So, did I just invent a hydraulic tripod device in my head for removing nails from scrotums?
Quite noisy though. If they had to get it out, I'm not surprised they had to close Red Square.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely they would have had to close Red Square. I mean,
it's totally insane, isn't it? I mean, how far have you got to go? I mean, I guess he was thinking in his head, what is the maddest thing I can do? I mean, you can't just, like you say, have a placard or do some little event. If he bought like a load of rubbish and set fire to it, you know, it's not going to work, is it? He needed to do something as mad as nail his scrotum to the concrete, I guess. And it is cold in Moscow.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They did actually, funny you said that, they mentioned the cold, and the first thing they did was they put something over him, one to cover his nakedness, but also to make sure that he didn't get too cold.
I don't know the science, but you'd imagine having very cold injuries might be in some way good. Is it like, you know, when you accidentally chop your finger off? I mean, everyone does that at some point. Accidentally chop your finger off, you put it in the ice bucket, didn't you?
Yeah,
till you get to hospital and they sew it back on.
Oh yeah, so you're saying there was less blood flow, so therefore that's good. That could be a good thing. I don't know if it's ever a good. I don't know if it's a good thing. You know, I just don't recommend doing it in any way, shape, or form. But
if you are going to do it in Moscow.
Yeah, when it's cold. I mean, specifically, again, it was done on a national police holiday, so that was one of the key points.
Police holiday? Is it not National Police Day where police are going to be on the news as today is National Police Day? Or is just National Police Day, is that like a bank holiday for police?
I don't know. It's a special day where they celebrate police. I don't know if they give them a time off.
Yeah, so police are going to be in the news. So it was a clever day to do it. If you're going to do something absolutely mad, that's the day to do it, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
for maximum media impact, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Impact is the word indeed. He's done extreme art before. There was one where he sewed up his mouth in protest, and he's done another one where he cut himself.
What was the protest? What was it against? I mean, it wasn't against his own thoughts, was it?
Well, no, it was actually about Pussy Riot, and Pussy Riot ran into the Russian girl rock band, and they rushed into a church and did an impromptu anti kind of religion and state performance, and that was part of his protest against their treatment. He did another one where he wrapped himself in barbed wire and called it Carcass. I'm looking at the picture of it now, and he's lying enshrined in barbed wire and he's naked.
Cocooned.
Yeah, that looks really bloody uncomfortable. I wouldn't like to do that. That's like the worst duvet I've ever seen. I think the best thing about it, though, is, did you see the prize that he won for this?
No.
He won.
Should I have done?
No. It's the most niche art prize I've ever heard of. It is so niche, right? This is right. 2013, he won the alternative prize for Russian activist art in the category Actions Implemented in an Urban Space.
Nice. It's almost like the Russian art world is encouraging works like this.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if they created a specific prize so they could give him a prize because there was someone else perhaps who was doing like good stuff at the time, and they thought, well, we better give him another prize as well because he's how
was his art received by the art world in Russia? Because it seems like the fact they have that prize, it seems like it's a big part of the art culture, these sort of performances.
He's very well received. I personally think he's a very interesting artist. I mean, the way as well is the way that he exposes the instruments of the state. After each art piece, what he does is publishes the documents that are used to try and prosecute him. Normally what happens is the state tries to say, this man's mad because he's been doing that, and they try and make him look mad and try and make him look an idiot to the populace during the trial. So they're trying to almost like neutralise his statements. So
they took him to court over the testicular incident?
Yes, he's been taken to court over most of them. I think it's probably because there's probably some indecency laws, some public order offence. So the instruments of the state, again, he publishes all the work, and you can get it on the internet. We might actually put some pictures up because it's not copyright. Yes! He doesn't copyright and he doesn't profit from any of his work. But when he publishes these political works, he said it devalues it, so he doesn't profit from any of them. He only profits, I assume, from doing talks and doing other drawings, but the actual specific works themselves, he says it becomes devalued if he makes money from it, which I think good on him. So that's Peter Pawlenski, or Petar Pawlenski, as we say. We've got one more, Tom. Hi. Yeah, it's right. So the Japanese artist is Mao Sugiyama, I would say, is how they pronounce it.
Meow.
I'm guessing. Yeah. What he did was he cut off his band parts, everything.
Everything.
The whole kit and caboodle. He underwent elective genital removal surgery. It was a statement about sexuality. And then what he did was he served it at a banquet so people could eat it. I looked at this piece and I thought I wasn't quite sure if this was really any good.
Well, I guess it's like with the Russian thing. I mean, there's a culture in art and in society. And I guess, where are we talking about? We're talking about Japan, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it might be harder for us to relate to it, possibly. But I guess it's relevant. I mean, sexualization is a part of all of us, isn't it? And we all take part in it, whether we want to or not.
Yeah.
We take part in it from the day we're born, pretty much, and probably before the day we're born these days.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's asexual, so he doesn't identify with any specific gender. He didn't get them replaced with artificial ones.
No, now
artificial female parts.
Imagine if you didn't have parts there and you actually had a free reign. You could put anything down there. A Swiss Army knife.
Well, Swiss Army knife, a bad drawing of bees, but that would just be a tattoo.
A flute.
A flute. Oh, that'd be good. Tooting. We're going to have to put explicit on this pod, aren't we? I hope it doesn't limit us in certain more certain territories.
I don't know that it's explicit if we're not using explicit language. I mean, the subject matter is explicit, but I mean, we're talking about art, aren't we?
Flute willies. We're talking about flute willies. Let's just be honest here. It's 12. We don't want anyone under the age of 12 listen to our podcast. An
actual flute willy. It could be an actual flute. If he's had his parts removed, and
it would be a flute, wouldn't it?
If he knows a good surgeon, he's actually got a free range. What he could do down there, he could put a little motorised testicle nail remover.
Yeah, he could. I'm just looking at the Marina Abramovich. Polaroid camera. That would be ironic, wouldn't it? Because if you suddenly went into someone, you dropped your trousers and exposed your Polaroid camera, and you took a photo of them.
Oh, like just about. So he's with some person, man or woman. He's just about to have some fun, sexy time, and down the pants go, and all of a sudden it's click, click, click. And you've been caught on camera.
Polaroid. Yeah.
He's probably got, if he had that, if one had a Polaroid camera to replace your parts, you would probably be able to get quite a collection of unusual expressions on people's faces.
I would also, on my inner thigh, right, I'd have, because you've been to surgery and there's bits sort of thing, I would get a little flap of skin, right, a flap of skin with a little fold at the bottom, right, and then what you could do is you could stick the Polaroid photos in there, and then when you waggled your leg, you have to shake a Polaroid, you could flap the flap of skin, and that would shake the Polaroid like you do when you get. Why do they shake Polaroids? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you mean.
Skin on the inside of your leg. So maybe it wouldn't be on the inside of the leg, maybe on your knee.
Yeah, so you could automate the process of developing the Polaroid, essentially.
Yeah, so you wouldn't. Yeah, because you probably want to be in a hands-free situation, wouldn't you, with a Polaroid down there?
Yeah, but you wouldn't want it accidentally going off, because otherwise you just get lots of pictures of the inside of your pants.
It'd be dark.
Yeah.
You just get darkness. Dark Polaroids. Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's interesting. I like what you're saying about that. This is in Tokyo, so you're right. It may be there may be a more like a tradition going back where, I mean, this is just not to upset people from Japan. I have no idea of their traditions in this respect. But could there have been any kind of tradition of serving food at banquets where people paid and there was some kind of respect or reverence to the person or acceptance of it'd be interesting to know what dinner, how dining is viewed, but he got £160 per person from it, so it probably paid for itself, the surgery, through this banquet.
And I mean, eating testicles, because bulls' testicles are eaten. I've certainly heard of them eaten in this country, and I guess in the wider world, it's not it's not a common dish maybe, but it's not uncommon, is it?
No.
Well, interesting in the Japanese artwork with the testicles served as food. The Japanese authorities charged all the guests of the event for indecent exposure.
Whoa.
Oh no, well, it's not all the guests. Him and 3 of the organisers were charged.
Whoa. Indecent meal,
so
could be charged
so
with.
if you indecent exposure for eating body parts, seems quite far-fetched, and you think really exposure's not the word, is it, when you're serving your testicles up as a meal?
Yeah.
I mean, exposure's more what the doctor sees before he removes them, surely once they're on the plate they're just a good meal.
In summary, we've got all these artists that put themselves in danger for their artwork. I think in life sometimes it's better to, push yourself a little bit to the out of your comfort zone. I think that's a good message to take from this. That I think if you push yourself and test where your limits are, it's always a good thing. I guess what I'm trying to be is I'm trying to see how these artists, I can apply what these artists are doing to sort of like myself and things, and I think that's what they show us. I'm sounding like I'm talking bollocks, quite honestly.
Yeah, but we are talking about art, so I guess bollocks is part of talking about art, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like to take away something from everything that I do and everything that I look at. So when I look at these, I want to see if there's anything that I can apply to my life. Facebook, people, if you're at home, or you people listening, wherever you're listening, hit me up on Facebook. I'll put a post about this, and please feel free to comment. Got a Twitter account as well. And all these links can be found on the website, which I'll put the show notes on, which is modernartistrubbish.com. And I think that's it. So
shall I say a bye for the podcast?
Oh yeah.
See you later.
Yes.
See you later. I'll try a few different ones.
See you later.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Bye bye. See you later.
Bye. Oh yeah. It's all
bye.
All right, cheers, man. I'll speak to you later. Bye.
All right, man. Speak to you later. Bye.